Hello, this is JB, and I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to talk about my memories of the Pinewood Derby. When I was a kid, I was a member of a church, Covenant Baptist Church in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was a member of a group for young men, boys, called Royal Ambassadors, and it was boys age I think first grade to sixth grade, maybe eighth grade. I'm not sure, but I remember being a part of it until I think the sixth grade. But once a year, our church would go to a Pinewood Derby event where a bunch of other churches and a bunch of other groups of, I guess, people in other Royal Ambassador groups would go. And we would have to bring, in order to be in the event, we would have to bring a project of some sort about something having to do with the church. So we would have to make that up and then bring that, put it on display. And but before all that, we would order the Pinewood Derby cars. So they would show you a piece of paper with different styles of car, and then you would pick that out. And then from there, you would um, build the car, or you would paint it. You would put weights on it if you needed weights. You would uh, uh, get it, just set it up, put wheels on it, um, just get it ready to race. They had certain rules and stuff, but that's not important. So you just had to meet the standards of the race. And then on the day of the race, you would bring your car with your group. And I remember going a few times, three times that I remember. I may have gone more, but I have three cars, and I'm going to show them to you. But and I think I'm doing it in order. I'm not sure. But the first one, I was probably in third grade. Um, this one's red, blue on top. It has a couple weights in the back. The reason I chose this color scheme is because I'm from North Carolina, and Richard Petty, the famous NASCAR driver who won 200 races, he was from North Carolina. And at that time, around that time, he was ending his racing career, and he had won 200 races in NASCAR, so he was called the King, the King of NASCAR racing. And I liked him, and also his son Kyle Petty. And I liked a lot of other drivers too, but so I chose these colors because he was driving for STP, the lubricant company at that time, and their colors were blue and red. So I have a blue and red car, and I don't think, even though it's a nice looking car, I don't think I did particularly well. I know I didn't win the event. There were a lot of people there, and some of them probably had a lot more experience and knew more what their car should look like. And it's not the most aerodynamic of cars. It is pretty slick, but not as slick. And I think the next one that I entered the next year or so uh, is more aerodynamic, not as heavy, uh, and looks like it. I might have put some weights in the bottom. I'm not really sure what we did down there, but my dad would help with that because he could drill and stuff. But and this one doesn't say which year. This one says 1995. But this one is slicker, so it's thinner, not quite as heavy as that one. I think the weight held because the ramp went straight down, and so the weight would bring it down faster. But this one was slick, solid blue, same color blue as the other one. I'm not sure why I didn't use red on this one, but I think it was an okay car too. On the back, it does say 43, so that was Richard Petty inspired as well because that was his number uh, for most, if not all, of his career. And Richard Petty was famous in North Carolina because he's from North Carolina, from Randleman, which is kind of near Asheboro, middle of the state in the Piedmont, and he had ran for Secretary of State or something like that. And he also had been in local government for a long time. Everybody knew who he was. He's one of the most famous sons of North Carolina. He's still alive today. He's still, if you see him, wears a cowboy hat and sunglasses. That was his trademark. And I still like him. Whenever I see a video of him talking, I still listen because he tells good stories, and he was a very big part of NASCAR history because he was a racer for so long, and he owned NASCAR's teams for so long. He might still own a part of the team, I'm not sure. But so I liked him, and that's why I was inspired to make my cars like that. And then the last one I had to show you was made for a different person that inspired me, and that was my dad. My dad has now been in the tile and marble business for 40 years, or 50 years almost. And his dad, my grandfather, started in the tile business in 1952, so we have more than 70 years. And when I was growing up, I used to ride around with my dad and work with him and go to different jobs, and I always wanted to be as skilled as he was and is. And I wanted to go and do tile work, and I did for a couple of years after high school. It was hard work, but I liked being in my dad's truck and riding around and going to all the places, and eating a cheeseburger in the truck, listening to music, had the window down and the wind is blowing through. I just liked that. So I made my next entry for the Pinewood Derby based on that experience. And at that time, he had maybe a 1994 Dodge Dakota, and it was green. It was his work truck, and we went everywhere in there, and we did all kinds of stuff. And so I made this truck to look like his, and it's actually pretty close because it's green. It's not super big. Pretty close. Got some weights in the back. And this one, it says 1997. 1997 down there. And so I would have been in the 5th grade, finishing the 5th grade in the spring of 1997. And that's what I entered. And you'll notice between the first two that I showed, those were aerodynamic, which means that, and this was actually in the 1990s when people discovered, at least in racing, that in order to be faster, your car has to be aerodynamic, because when it is confronted by the wind, if the wind moves over it faster, then the car will move faster. It's like if you're swimming, if you're like a larger person, it's harder to swim fast because of the way that the water passes past your body. But if you're a slender person, you can go through the water like a fish. And so this particular entry is not aerodynamic at all, because when the truck goes down the track and the wind, the air blows to it, it's not going to pass over it really quickly. It's going to smack into the window and slow it down. And so this one was definitely not a winner. I probably was out really quick. I can't exactly remember, but probably 1 or 2 heat races before the finals, and that was it. And I was done. But I didn't care because I liked the truck. And I'll probably keep this truck forever because of the meaning of it that I explained about my dad, my memories with my dad. And I just like it. It looks cool. I don't have many things from the family tile business, so I just use that as a memory of the tile business. But anyway, if you have any Pinewood Derby memories or tips for people, put them below and have a conversation. Thanks for listening, and that's all I got for today.